Hopefully everybody can see Shaun, and we have Shaun on screen with us. Yeah, we do. So Shaun, first of all, I didn't realise we'd so many snooker fans. I have a load of WhatsApps, people going so excited to see Shaun Murphy. So first of all, the reason I asked Shaun to join us this morning on Connect with Anne is if any sports professional represents resilience, I would say integrity, drive to win, ambition, it's Shaun. So Shaun was in the final of the World Snooker Champions this year. I watched it. It went on for bloody days. So Shaun, I think you've listened to a little bit about our leaders. We're all about drive and determination in Vodafone. So first of all, welcome to Connect with Anne. And I'm going to ask you some questions. And I know Shaun is going to be so much better. I'm still traumatized over Bradley Wiggins, Shaun. It's something I'll tell you over a drink someday. So first of all, you have the nickname of the Magician. So for those of us that don't know a lot about snooker, why are you called the Magician and what's all that about?
Yeah, I think, good morning, everyone. I think the magician thing is the thing that these nicknames come and go, don't they? Somebody somewhere a million years ago called Alex Higgins the Hurricane and Jimmy White Whirlwind and Rocket Ronnie O'Sullivan. And yeah, I think what actually happened was I played a few shots similar to the ones in that video many years ago at the Crucible in a big match. And somebody shouted out from the crowd, they went, "That's magic." and I think it just kind of stuck from there. You know, the MCs are always looking for a way of creating personalities, and when I do my exhibitions and corporate work and stuff like that, I do a few magic tricks as well on the table. So I've kind of, you know, tried to blend that into my act, if you like, and you know, it's really good. And I suppose it gives people a way of connecting with the character behind the waistcoat, you know, with the person behind the face a little bit.
And Shaun, I guess what we've been speaking about to the team earlier on is that we've been performing now, so outperforming our competitors over the last few quarters, nearly 3 years. And, you know, in our business, targets get bigger, expectations get bigger, you know, we build momentum. And I guess just kind of bringing a parallel with you, so you reached number 3, a few years ago, and you held that position, which is massive, right? Considering number 3 in the world, you held it for like 3 seasons. And then, you know, so just give us an insight about the pressure or what you would focus on to continue to perform at that level season after season after season, even though there's probably increased pressure. Because I think that's what we feel at the moment. We're performing for 3 years. So pressure is on now to perform for next 3 years. So give us an insight into maybe how you felt about that pressure and how you managed it.
I think we try to keep it very simple with my team. You know, I have a manager and a coach and, you know, a good family team around me. And you see a lot of people in sport and business, they make things super complicated. And, you know, it isn't complicated. And you just find the formula that works for you and stick to it. And we literally have notes made between my coach and I, things that work, things that keep me sharp on the table. I obviously, between tournaments, you know, I have quite a strict daily practice routine that I adhere to, that I make sure I do, whether I want to or not. That was something my coach said to me, that, you know, success is about doing the things you know work, whether you want to do them or not. And, you know, that's something he hammers into me, you know, on a weekly basis. You know, I don't always want to go and do my 6-7 hours a day practice in my snooker club, but I do them. Because if I go to a tournament, I know I'm going to be competing against other pros who have been doing that. Yeah. And as a self-employed person, which I am ultimately, you know, if I want to, I can go off and play golf every day. But I'll turn up at the next tournament and I won't be as sharp. And eventually, you can run on fumes for a little while, but eventually it'll catch up with you. You know, we have to keep an eye on what the opponents are doing, what the other pros are doing, what they're working on. I wouldn't go as far as to say we have spies in anyone else's camp. But we have spies in other business camps, and
as do we.
You know, you've got to keep an eye on what the competition are doing, and we do that, and we're no different. And there's a very old phrase in snooker about no matter who you're playing, you only really play the table, and I guess that is true to a certain degree. But when you get right to the top of Everest, you've got to then start playing the individuals. And so I would, you know, when I'm competing against players who are ranked, you know, I'm in the top 8 at the moment, playing against fellow top 8 players. You know, I would tailor my game around their strengths and weaknesses, and really keep an eye on what they're doing, where they're going, what are they working on, You know, what is the best? What are the best in the world trying to do? And if it's good enough for them, then it's good enough for me.
And Shaun, when you kind of dropped down in the ranks, so you were on a real high, and then life got a little bit tough. Just talk me through how that felt, why you think that happened, and then what you've done to kind of. I mean, your comeback this year was next. I mean, people that didn't watch snooker like me watched Shaun Murphy. Just the drive, the excitement. But I look at you and I go, I'm quite a competitive person for the businesses that I lead, and we're really riding high. And I go to bed at night and go, oh my God, what if the worst happens and we take our eye off the ball and suddenly we drop down the ranking? So explain what that felt like.
Yeah, I wouldn't sugarcoat it. It was disappointing. There was a good few years where I was riding high and I was performing to a very high level, and there was high expectations on me from myself and my team and the snooker community in general. But I think you use the right phrase. You take your eye off the ball. In my own personal situation, I moved away from just playing snooker all the time and being focused on what I'd been doing since being a 9-year-old child, is just play snooker. And I joined our world governing body. I was a director of the company. I started running the Players Commission, which is the players' representative body. I moved into broadcasting. I was commentating, doing some studio work. I was running the coaching scheme. I was doing all of those things, and you only have so much to give.
Yeah.
And eventually, I took my eye off the ball. And when I list them out like that, it sounds obvious, but at the time it didn't feel like I had to, because I was still doing my practice, I was still doing my training, but I diluted it. I diluted my concentration and my efforts, and I'd lost focus, and I got overtaken.
And what did that feel like?
Oh, I was gutted. Like, when I realised, and I felt silly, I felt stupid, I felt naive, felt like I should have known better. But as I say, I think having a good team around you is vital. The people around me sort of, they didn't lambast me in any way. They put their arms around and said, "Come on, we dust yourself off, and we can go again," because we knew what worked. We had those basics, and we had those notes, those physical notes. I remember I stopped working with my old coach for a period of time, and when we did pick up back again a few years ago, he got his iPad out and he literally had a Shaun Murphy file, and in that file were all the secrets.
Yeah.
And we it sounds silly, but as soon as we tapped into those keys that I'd forgotten, the performance turned around.
And tell me what it felt like as you went through playing in the final this year. I mean, you really played out of your skin. You had the personality. Your opponent didn't. Actually, it's the personality of an ash, if I can say it. Just tell me what it felt like, and how do you get a mindset, because that World Championship, I mean, went on for about a week or something. It goes on for days and days and days, and it's literally like a game of inches, which is not too dissimilar when we're in a sales cycle. It just might go on for months and months. But talk to me about how you self-motivate, because we're all part of a team, and we're very much, as you can see in my background, together we can. But often it does come down to individuals playing in position. And often at the very tail end, it might be the salesperson or the head technical person or the marketeer, whatever the case may be, has to deliver to bring it across the line. So interesting to see in a sport, which I guess is a little bit more about the team of Shaun, the one person, how your mindset is and how you feel.
Yeah, I would always heap praise on the people around me and say that, whilst they do help me along the way, they're always very, very honest. In saying, like my coach, for instance, he would jump in front of a bus for me, like, we're very, very close. But he's also very aware that at the end of the day, it's me that has to go out there and perform. And he's part of the team, but ultimately I have to put my bow tie on in the dressing room and go out there and perform in front of the world. And I guess you can have all of the training and all of the meetings and all of the pitches that you like, but eventually you have to go out there and do the work and do it, and you can prepare. But I think the biggest aspect is preparation. And if you know your business, if you know your trade, if you know what you're trying to achieve, if you've put the work in, the due diligence, it's a lot easier to perform under pressure. I suppose really you guys are in a great position. I always say to people I'm trying to mentor in snooker, that you can see very clearly the people who've got it right and they found the magic formula and doing the right things, because their trophy cabinets are full.
Yeah. Very well.
And I just started, that for me struck a chord. The other big lineup that struck with me years ago, when I first started working with my coach, he had me watch an old video of this American motivational speaker. And he said to me, I want you to watch this video, and anything that strikes a chord with you, I want you to write it down. And the first sentence out of this guy's mouth really hit home with me. You know, in a world like mine where, you know, there's 130 pros on the tour and they're all as good as each other, and you're just looking for that little extra 0.25% somewhere to get through somebody. And the guy, it was a little bit flippant, but he said, the biggest tip for success that I could possibly give anyone is to watch what all the unsuccessful people do and do the opposite. Yeah,
well said.
And I pushed pause on the thing and wrote the note down, and that's still one of the things. You know, I look at what all of the majority of the tour pros do who don't win. They're not regularly picking up trophies. They're great players, but they're not. You know, we have an annual awards ceremony in London every year. They're not being given the trophies. They're you know, your Ronnie O'Sullivans and your Judd Trumps and Mark Selby's. You know, what are they doing? Because they're doing something different than everyone else. And you've got to watch. You know, the clues are there. You've just got to find them.
And so, just as we wrap up, Shaun, because you know, in fairness, what's next now? Because I guess the pressure mounts again. The magician is back. Everybody's talking about it. I mean, you didn't quite get there in the World Championship. You nearly did. And if it was based on bloody personality and entertainment and you'd moments of brilliance, it was Shaun Murphy's. And you and I have had this chat, I guess, privately around. I mean, you gave the best speech. I mean, Shaun only said to me recently, yeah, I gave the best speech. It wasn't the one I bloody planned to give because I wanted to win. But what's next now? How do you get yourself to win the World Championship back again?
Well, I think goals are important. You know, I still have a couple of goals that I'm yet to achieve in my career, and they're front and centre in my life, and I sort of structure my practice around trying to achieve those goals. And I think you've got to just be so specific. One of the things my coach is big about is being ultra specific with your targets, with your goals and your dreams, and working around those. For me, you know, it's very easy to get caught up in the excitement and you know, I turned my season around. I got to within 3 frames of winning the World Championships again, and you know, it'd be easy to get caught up in the excitement for that. But in snooker, you know, we don't play for second place, and it's now my job to regroup, learn what I can from what was a good season in the end and finished really well, and go again. The new season starts in a few weeks. I'll be dusting myself off, getting back on the practice table and trying to outstrip everyone.
Oh, fantastic. And I think if I could end the Connect with Anne really by saying none of us play for second place. I think that's so well said. Shaun, last question. Who's the sports person you most admire and why?
Yeah, I think I thought long and hard about that over the years. You know, you get asked that type of thing a lot. I think for me, I look to somebody like a Roger Federer, who is just, you know, in my opinion, he's the best tennis player we've ever seen. But on and off the court, you know, just a very classy guy, ultra professional, you know, would never let you down, very good at his job. You could put in front of kings or, you know, people on the street, you know, an absolute gentleman and, you know, somebody to look up to for sure.
Who'll win the Euros?
It won't be England, that's for certain.
You never know, you never know. Shaun, I just want to say thank you. Actually, I'll set it a secret. Shaun and I are neighbours. So actually he married an amazing Irish woman. So not only is he clever on the snooker room or whatever the right word to say, he's clever in his personal life as well. So Elaine is fantastic. So Shaun,
did Elaine pay? Did she pay you to say that?
Yeah, I wish. Yeah, checks in the post. I just want to say, Shaun, thank you. You've delivered some great messages today, and we know that we'll hopefully all be in the crucible the next time the World Championships are on when you lift that trophy. So I just want to end the Connect with Anne to say